Carly, it was whole hog week in the Carolinas. If you were there, are you an Eastern or a Western Carolina barbecue fan?
I think Western because I'm more on the sweet side of barbecue, but I'm very interested in the Eastern. I don't know that I've actually had like Eastern Carolina barbecue at all.
Yeah, I don't think I've had either. I also don't eat pork, so my opinion's maybe not that interesting here, but I would actually go Eastern. I love like vinegar-based things. I love like Carolina mustard and the more tangy barbecue sauces. And I actually absolutely hate ketchup. So when they said that, I know. When they said they put ketchup in it, I was like instantly out. So yeah, I'm definitely on the Eastern side.
Interesting. Ketchup hater. I freaking love ketchup.
I can't do it. I get made fun of a lot because I eat my French fries with just mustard. And I didn't realize that was a weird thing until people started pointing it out. But yeah, it's too sweet and I can't do it.
To each their own. Hi, everyone. Here at Track Your Knives, we are not your traditional Top Chef recap podcast. We're going to be presenting you with what we're seeing in the community's power rankings, where each week you rank the players from most likely to be eliminated to most likely to win the elimination challenge. We, of course, have a bonus question every week to help to get you more points. And I don't think we've said this enough over the past couple of weeks. The winner of the power rankings will get a chef-curated meal at Sarah Bradley's Fright House. You do have to get yourself to Kentucky.
Yes.
This is not my typical intro, but I want to say I have a cold and I'm a little stuffy, so apologies for that.
Hey, that's okay. Yeah, we haven't said it enough. That is an amazing prize for the winners, and there are some people really, really gunning for that prize. So I'm excited to celebrate them here in a little bit. But speaking about this not being a traditional recap podcast, I was on Reddit this past week. I'm not a big Reddit person, but I'm on there every once in a while. And I saw someone ask about finding data on who's won each season and quickfire wins and everything. And I was like, oh, this is straight up Carly's alley. And then you had already went in there and posted about all of the data that you're keeping track of. And you like make it available for everyone on GitHub, which is like so generous of you. But as I was reading through the comments, someone mentioned you can watch the Pack Your Knives podcast to listen to like recaps, but then the sister podcast, Track Your Knives, our shtick is talking about all of the data behind Top Chef. So I loved that someone called that out as our shtick, which I hadn't thought about that, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm really appreciating everyone who's reaching out on Reddit or Instagram and sharing your experiences, like I get to talk to you all about like what you think about what's been happening and, hearing about the restaurants that you've been going to. So please keep it up. We love hearing from you. This is why Kendra and I are doing this, is because we want to be in community with people who love Top Chef.
Yes. Yeah. We love it. Yeah. And I realized people have been putting in some messages in this inquiries box that I have on the website, and I totally missed those. So for those of you reaching out, thank you so much. I will get back to each and every one of you, but you've been adding new restaurants in there and just saying how much you like the power rankings and the fantasy leagues and giving ideas for, we're planning on doing this next year. So all of your ideas on how to continue to grow this and make it more interesting for everyone, we're definitely all ears. So feel free to post those, and I apologize that I missed them until now. Well, let's talk about the episode. I had a few favorite moments I wanted to just quickly chat about, and then we can get into the power rankings. But I loved the opening scene with Lawrence and Anthony talking about, I think I captured it right, Warhammer 5000. My first thing was like, nerds. But then I'm like, it was so endearing, like to see something that they're both like really passionate about and like bonding over it. And my dad and my brother didn't play that specific game when we were growing up, but I remember them having a game with little figurines that were different. I don't know, elves and humans and whatever, and they would fight each other and go to events on the weekends. And I know how much they like loved that and bonded over it. So I just thought it was like such a cute, endearing moment to kick off the episode.
Me too. I'm all here for the nerds, any kind of nerd, someone who's passionate about what they do. Like, yes. Tell me about it. I want to know.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. So I loved that. I also loved seeing Michelle Wallace again. Like, she is just the sweetest person and like perfect person for this episode, being a pitmaster herself. And so loved to see, like, she was sort of the only one disagreeing with the other judges, like when there was a disagreement. So I thought it was great to have her on again too, and just to see her.
Me too. I actually got to meet her. She was doing an event in Seattle with Communion, which is run by a woman named Christy Brown, who is freaking incredible. But talk about incredible. Michelle was so nice. I gave her a heads up that said, hey, I'm a fan. I bought tickets for your event with my twin sister, right? We're both twins. And I would just love to meet you afterwards. And not only did I get to meet her afterwards, and it was the warmest hug, in the middle of service, she DMs me and checks in with me and asks if dinner is okay. And I was like, you are an incredible human. So yeah, Michelle Wallace is a darling. I freaking love her.
I love that so much. It's so nice to see someone that on TV comes off as a nice person and turns out to be a nice person in reality too. So I love that so much. I have a couple other thoughts, but I think maybe we'll wait for those when we get to the power rankings. But I know you had one follow-up that came from someone that commented on our YouTube video. So would love to kind of follow up with Anthony, I believe it was.
Yes, and that is not Maze, our producer, but Anthony on YouTube asked about how common it is for a chef to be at the bottom of a quick fire and then be eliminated that same episode. And this has happened at least 68 times. I realize that I need to update some data for seasons 5, 6, and 17. So my guess is because it's happened in every other season, it's going to be above 70 times that this has happened. And it's actually happened 6 times in 3 different seasons: All Stars New York, season 5, Boston, season 12, and World All Stars in season 20. And the thing that prompted Anthony to ask this is that it's happened 3 times this season, with Nana, Brittany, and Rhoda all being at the bottom of a quick fire and then being eliminated. And so I think I'll look a little bit more into, I don't know if it's predictive, but I liked that question because it's often framed as, and, I do like the positive frame of, if you win the quick fire, like, do you also, how often do you win the elimination challenge? And this was sort of the flip side of that. And I was like, oh, wow, around 70 times. Like, that actually happens a lot. That's and multiple times in most seasons.
Yeah. I feel like momentum's real, like both when you're doing really well, but I think sometimes it can be hard to get yourself out of a negative headspace after landing in the bottom. So that's crazy, 68 times. And so curious to see once you have all of the data, like where that final number lands. But and it'll be interesting to see if it happens more this season, especially as we're getting down in numbers. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, let's look at power rankings. How did you do this week? And I have a funny story for how I did.
I'll
let you kick it off.
I did very well. I unfortunately, but for Seeger, but fortunately for me, had Seeger at number 10 and Lawrence at 4. So I did well. And I have now jumped into the top 30 of people, and I'm ranked 27th.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
That was very fun.
Yeah, you had one of the biggest jumps this week. Like 12 and 14 points were like the biggest jumps. So you really crushed this one. I had done all my rankings, and then I told myself I am not going to change my rankings based on the sneak peek that they do, that they usually release on like Sunday or Monday. So I watch it, and I realize who I had in my top 5 and who I had in my bottom 5 directly lined up with the teams. And so I was like, this is a bad idea, because what if everyone I have in my top lose? Now my points are going to be very poor. So maybe I should pull a couple people up. And then I was like, no, I'm going to stick with my guns. This is what I already have in there. And so I did not move anyone around. But now that I'm looking at yours, you only had one person on the red team in your bottom 5 as well. So I think it kind of landed that a lot of who were putting in the bottom 5 actually ended up on the gray team, even though, I mean, they barely lost. But anyways, I was like, I'm not going to change it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I had Lawrence.
That's really interesting.
Second. Yeah. And then I had Seeger was the person I was actually going to bump up, which I'm glad I didn't. So it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that Anthony really used his challenge advantage to his advantage, being able to choose his team. I didn't realize that until they said it in the episode that he had an advantage. That was just sprung on him.
Yeah, I don't remember them mentioning that in the previous episode either. I also see that you had Jonathan in your number 1 spot.
Number 1.
That was a close one.
Yeah. Yeah. So he is the one who I chose preseason, just based on cast bios, who I wanted to win, because I just got baby twin vibes from him, because I'm baby twin. And when he and Brandon were talking about how they talk every day, and that Sherry was like, I didn't like you two, but now I like you two, I was like, oh God, Jonathan's going home. But Seeger also seemed to be like, no, it's me, bro. Like, it's me. But I was very worried, because I had Jonathan at 1.
Yeah. That was a close one for him. And I love how they talked about how close they are and how much they talk. But also, like, Brandon threw him under the bus. I was like,
oh, yeah, I didn't have store-bought.
Yeah. I get this, like, twin rivalry, but I was like, if that had been, like, another chef that he did that to, like, that would have, like, not been cool. And so, like, to do that to your own brother in front of all the chefs, I was like, that was a low blow. So that hurt my heart.
Yeah. I mean, it very much gave Kentucky vibes, season 16, when Sarah had waffle mix, and the other team definitely let not only Tom and the judges know, but like had them chanting homemade, because they were in the University of Kentucky basketball arena. And I just remember like how hurt Sarah was, like, in her confessionals about that. And yeah. But, Jonathan had a good comeback. He's like, I bought the skin. I did not buy the chicharrones.
Yes. Yeah. What about the bonus question? I'm quickly learning that we aren't very good at watching the previews and picking a super great bonus question with lots of input. So this past week was how many chefs are going to freak out over the barbecuing. And I didn't realize it was going to be a team challenge this week, like instead of individuals. So I think that kind of changed it up. But how many people ended up getting that one right?
5 got it right. The answer was 0. Good for these chefs for being well adjusted, in touch with themselves, taking naps when they need to, having each other's backs. Like, great job. Great job. I thought 2 of you at least were going to have a breakdown. Seems like everyone else thought so too. The average was 2.8. Only 5 people got it right. That's Christine, E.A. Fetter, or E. Fetter, I'm not exactly sure. Michelle P., we'll hear from you again, Queen B 428, and Top Scallop. We now have 13 people who have gotten 2 or more bonus questions right, though Serafina remains the only one who's gotten 3 correct. So I'll just quickly read those off. Top Scallop, Filio, who recently went to Massimo's restaurant in Montreal, loved it.
Nice.
Patrick E. Keeley, Justice for Shota, ain't that the truth? Deg SF, DAP 18, Chrono, Christine, again, Chipster, Chief Beef, and Bobby. So congrats to you all for leading the way and getting bonus questions right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I've gotten 0 correct. So those are not helping me out at all. But what I think we've seen the last 2 weeks is that the person who is landing in first ends up getting the bonus question right. And it's what kind of bumps them up to the top. So those are really important. All right. Well, how did everyone end up doing this week in predicting the winner and the eliminated chef?
Well, we have 1 perfect score out of 134 players. So huge congrats to Eric C. You got all 20 points. That excludes the bonus.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the average was 7.9 and the median was 4. So it was a fairly low scoring week, not as bad as when Rhoda went home. But yeah, so Eric, you did great. A little bit under half, around 44%, had Lawrence in their top 3, and a little bit less, around a third, 36%, had Seeger in their bottom 3. I got an interesting idea perhaps for next year. So you and I need to talk about this, about like if we want to consider giving points for having both the eliminated in the bottom 3 and the winner in the top 3, having, met both of those conditions, and sort of giving extra points for that. There were 14 people who did that this week. Michelle P., Then Shell, Ryan M., Pure XJ, Megan V., Hannah G., Ginger Full, Rebecca, No Reservations, who is on a PYK fantasy league, Eric C. again, MJ, Ann, Allison, and Alex B. So, there's some people who are like, it's not necessarily perfect like Eric, but then an additional 13 had, them in the right buckets of the top and bottom 3.
Yeah, I love that idea for next year. Just looking for ways to add additional points too. Because I think as we get like further into the season, the people at the top, it's going to be really hard to catch them. Like I'm in 11th and I think I'm like 29 points behind the leader or something. So it's like they're going to have really bad weeks and I'm going to have to make risky decisions maybe to even catch up. So it'll definitely be harder. So I think next year thinking about other ways too that we can reward people for getting some of these types of things right. Speaking of leaders, we have a new one. Michelle P., who has been right up at the top this whole time, is finally number 1 and has 130 out of 165 total available points. So that's pretty darn good. Only missed 35 points and got the bonus question right this week. So that definitely bumped Michelle up above everyone else. And then we had 2 new entrants to the top 10. So Top Dog and Max Samus joined the top 10. So we've got a pretty good leaderboard going into we have 9 chefs left. So not quite halfway through, but I'm excited to see how things kind of shape up as we get through the rest of the season. Okay, well, what about which chefs users were expecting to win this challenge? So we knew Lawrence ended up winning, and about 44% of people had him in the top 3. But where were people thinking sort of from a winner's perspective?
Yeah, again, Anthony. Anthony tops the rankings. It's his 4th time in 6 episodes as number 1. 25% of people had him as most likely to win, as compared to just around 13% chose Lawrence as most likely to win. What got Dwen into second place, second to Anthony, is that no one had Anthony or Dwen as most likely to be eliminated. And Dwen in second, this was her highest ranking all season. So people are seemingly either hungry for a Dwen win or really confident that, it's coming.
Yeah, I put her 1. I felt like Lawrence and Anthony have had some wins, and she's had a lot of momentum, like her and Sherry both. And so I felt like maybe this week was I liked Dwen win week. So I was trying to put that out there. I also loved her alter ego, Dwayne. I'm like, man, I wish I need a great alter ego name that it plays off my name that well, but Dwyn and Dwayne is just perfect. So I absolutely loved that. What about eliminated chefs? Are we seeing kind of the same trends we've been seeing week over week, or has there been some shuffling given, like last week, the bottom 3 were kind of people that hadn't been down there before?
Yeah, we're seeing consistently Jennifer and Justin at the bottom. No one had them as most likely to win the elimination challenge. Oscar rounds out the bottom 3, but he has, in this episode, the largest standard deviation, where there's a decent amount of people who put him really high and also very low. There's a bit more people who put him low, so that's why he's near the bottom. But 11 people put him as most likely to win, and 18 as most likely to be eliminated. Jennifer, and once again, we get a teaser, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, but her arm, 43% of people playing had Jennifer as most likely to be eliminated. Justin, so she had 57 people saying that she would be most likely to be eliminated, and Justin had 27. So, by a large margin, she was on the bottom. And what's so interesting to me about these power rankings is that it really isn't about her as a chef. Because people really seem to love her food, right? She was one of the people on the gray team that won. And like when I was listening to Tom and Sarah the other week, Sarah was like, I love Jennifer's cooking. Like, it just seems great. And so it's really, I think, at least for me and how I am interpreting my own power rankings, it really is that underlying shoulder injury that is really putting her at the bottom for me. And it's making it hard when I'm doing my rankings to think about her food, because I would love to eat her food.
Yes. Yeah. I know. And it feels so unfair because, she's not doing poorly in the challenges. Last week, she had really great reviews. And I agree, like that smoked catfish dip, like out of everything, like that would have been my dish too. Like, I love smoked fish dip. And so like that looked great this week. She crushed it. Like, I think she is... like her food's very good. And so it's just this shoulder issue that is just like so frustrating to deal with in the rankings. And I think we have it for next week's episode, looking forward at it, but it does look like it maybe comes to a head, but it is another red herring. Like, I feel like we just keep getting this. But this week, I don't know how you feel about it, but given how much work Seeger put into making everyone's pork for them this week and mostly had good reviews on everyone else's cuts, it just felt a little unfair that he ended up being the one to go home, because I think he just ended up focusing too much on the hog and not enough on like conceptualizing his dish. And that just like really hurt him.
It did. And it was interesting to hear his perspective on whole hog, meaning don't cut the pig until the very end, like when it's all cooked. Whereas the red team took out the loin and cooked it a little differently or less. And hearing one of the pit masters there say, like, that's how we do it, right?
Yeah.
That, I guess, isn't how Seeger was taught. And so it did feel tough because it felt like he was really sticking to what he knew was right. And it also shot him in the foot a little bit. And, you know, on a personal level, I didn't want Jonathan to go home. But it, you know, it comes down to like that specific dish, right? Like Jonathan, it was a cheese component that was not good. And then for Seeger, it was the meat component. He was also doing something with a gelatinous pig ear too. And I was like, I don't want that, but to each their own.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel like Justin too, like, didn't cut the meat right, and like they didn't get enough meat, and it didn't feel like he was creative enough. And I feel like he like kind of coast each episode with just like not being the worst dish. And so it's just like a bummer to see someone like Seeger go in those situations with these team challenges. Though we didn't talk about it earlier, but his commentary during the part where they were walking through like all of the barbecue, and he kept saying like, oh, I know that's how you do it. Or like, I was like, please stop doing that. He's like that kid in class that just like has to prove that they know the thing that you're saying. And it's like, you don't actually need to do that. And so I'm like, please stop doing this. But I also had a feeling that was foreshadowing his downfall in this episode, but just felt like he just always was like criticizing what everyone else was doing or like his opinion. So that was driving me crazy. But
I felt that too. It's like he's either being set up because he's going to do really well or fail. But you know, I don't think it was actually a fail, right? Like he cooked a whole hog, and that is not his, like, yes, he's trained, but like that's not what he does on a regular basis. But yeah, him saying all of those things, I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, but the more you say that, the higher expectations are going to be. So just stop saying it.
No, I was like cringing the whole time. All right. Well, looking forward to next week. Was there anything from the preview that you picked up? I forgot to take notes, and I don't remember a single second of it outside of them talking about Jen's shoulder again and Justin crying with Kristen. So, like, that was the only thing that stuck in my brain.
Yeah. It's desserts. And, you know, I think it's going to be interesting because we have seen people do desserts already. Like we said, episode 1, it seems like it's almost starting to be a thing that all of these chefs need to know how to do desserts. So it's interesting to see it as a full-on, like, this is going to be a dessert challenge. But at the same time, like, the sort of I'm just like, okay, so in challenges where he didn't have to make a dessert, Brandon made a dessert. Now he's doing a dessert. I'm like, is he going to go savory just to be different? So yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm going to have to like bake some brownies or something before the episode because that's what I have to do when I watch Bake Off, because otherwise I just want to eat all of the things and then I don't have anything ready, but I could come prepared next Monday night.
Do it and send some pictures. Yeah, I'm nervous for dessert week. You're right. That is what they're doing. And I don't know which of these chefs have dessert skills. So I'm a little nervous for a few in the top. So we'll see how it goes. What about fantasy leagues? One note I made is there was no quickfire this week, but we did count Oscar's s'mores win as a quickfire win to bump up some points. But kudos to him. That was like a really, I feel like some people just threw everything in there, and he was like so thoughtful about the approach he took and going in like a completely different direction. So it was a little silly, but it was fun to see them just like hang out with Tom and do something a little low key.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that I disagree with you and Tom Haberstroh on this because we had a little quick text about this, about whether to give Oscar points, and I'm fine being wrong. I'm just like, because not everyone had to compete. And as I was entering the data, I was like, I have never in my life collecting all this data written optional quickfire, right? So I feel like it's a different category, but I get it. Like, let's give Oscar some more points. Fine by me.
Yeah. And he's got $500, so he's on the money board too.
He's a 500-er.
Yes. And then one other thing we wanted to note in scoring where I think we're differing from what Tom and Sarah are scoring for this week. So for the top in the elimination challenge, we are just scoring the 3 chefs who won their rounds. So Lawrence, Sherry, and Brandon are the only ones that we're scoring as top. And our rationale was that they like to earn the points, you should, especially in head-to-head, win your rounds. And so we felt like they needed to win their round to actually earn the points, which hurts me because Anthony is my only fantasy league member left, and I would have loved the 3 points because someone in our league has Lawrence and Sherry and is crushing the rest of us by a lot of points. And so I would have loved 3 more points, but it felt more fair to us to just do the top 3 that won their round.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fantasy leagues, per usual, Sarah is killing it. She's doing really well. In terms of other fantasy leagues where the teams have 7 chefs, Team Ian from League Restaurant Wars is 2 points behind Sarah. Wow. And Finch's Favorites from League Brazelton is 6 points behind that. So congrats for being those top 3. But if we're just looking across everyone and looking at standardized scores, which is looking at like an average score for each chef that you have on your team, Team 5 from League The Bestest is in the lead. Team 3 from from season 23 Top Chef Foodball is in second, and in really close third and fourth is Risotto Curse from Pack Your Knives 4 and Amuse My Bouche from Top Chef season 23 League. So congrats to you all.
Yes, congrats.
I also just wanted to call out, so I have a way to look at how leagues are doing for those that have drafted each individual chef. So looking at those that have drafted Seeger, how they're doing. Again, looking at the standardized score. Team 1 in the Top Chef League is leading, followed by Top Scallop in League Xenafriends. And then tied, we've got Lagogo in Top Chef Fantasy League, and Team 3 of League Angle Canada. So congrats to you all for doing the best, even though you have Seeger on your team, who was just eliminated.
Sad. Love it. One other fantasy league item that we might have mentioned last week, but want to mention it again, is that we're not scoring the Last Chance Kitchen yet. So we're going to wait to score that until the chef re-enters the competition. So we know not everyone has Peacock and watches Last Chance Kitchen. So we just want to avoid any spoilers for those folks that don't watch the Last Chance Kitchen and want to see who comes back as the eliminated chef is a surprise. So we will hold on to those scores until after. But the nice thing is you get some surprise bonus points here at some point whenever the chef enters. So that's more fun anyway than getting the points along the way. So we will do that. We also aren't going to recap Last Chance Kitchen this week, but we might talk about it next week. We'll see how things go with that.
Yes.
And then we, as Carly and I mentioned earlier, we love interacting with all of you and just hearing what other data points you want to hear about or restaurants you visited. Would love to highlight those on the Find Top Chef Instagram. So feel free to tag us. You can also put your Instagram in on the findtopchef.com website in your profile. And if you're in the top, I'll tag you as well so that you can share that out on your Instagram. I know we have Cosmic Cave Soup that's reached out and commented. So we love interacting with all of you. So feel free to reach out to us on Instagram and we'll tag you. And I just realized, talking about data points, we have to add another trio win to your data we pulled a few weeks ago on how many times does a trio win.
Yeah, that's interesting, Kendra, because the dish verbally was described as a trio. However, on screen, it was not. And I do the dish analysis based on the descriptor. So I might put that in the notes and noodle on it.
Okay.
Interesting. Undercounting. There's always reasons to rewatch is really what it comes down to.
Yes, always. All right. Well, let's wrap it up today. There's probably lots more we could talk about. But just a reminder, submit your rankings on find-topchef.com. They are due 5 minutes before the episode airs. I'm sending out email reminders just in case you forget. We haven't made up our bonus question yet because there's lots to think of so that we can find one that will work well. So that should be loaded, though, by the time this podcast airs. And then make sure you check out all of the great content on packyourknives.com. Carly does amazing additional analysis on there, so make sure you check that out. And don't miss Tom and Sarah's episode recaps, where they get really deep into the food and everything there. I think that's it.
All right. And this has been Track Your Knives.